Hey there, sports fans. How we doing? Week 16. Merry Christmas to everybody. Christmas Eve. We got a bunch of games going on. First, we're going to recap the Thursday game real quick. I know we do them ready to do 2 videos, but we're kind of short on time this weekend, so we're going to kind of bang everything out all at once. So Thursday night, we had the Jags play the Jets. Jags pretty much mopped the floor with these guys. Nobody really did much on the Jets side of the ball. You had Zach Wilson start the game, but he didn't finish. He got pulled. The backup quarterback actually wound up, I can't pronounce the goddamn guy's name. He wound up leading the team in rushing, leading the team in passing, and he still didn't do anything. The Jags, on the other hand, Trevor Lawrence, he had an okay game out, played well at 20 or 31 for 239. Didn't throw for any touchdowns, but he also didn't turn the ball over. Evan Ingram had a big game with 7 catches and 113 yards. But this puts the Jags in good position. They got a lot of momentum moving in towards the playoff hunt. Kind of excited to see what they could do towards the end of the season here. They're an interesting team, man. They're really coming around. But we have a bunch of games slated for our Christmas Eve because Christmas is on Sunday, so they limited the games on Sunday. So we have a few games on Sunday, but most of the games are on Saturday today. Our 1 o'clock game is our first game is Atlanta versus Baltimore. I took Atlanta in this one. It's more wishful thinking. Baltimore's kind of hurt right now. They're a beatable team, and Atlanta really needs. We have to do a lot to make the playoffs. We're fighting for Tampa. We got to get ahead of Tampa Bay, and the only go positive there. Tampa Bay's kind of on a losing skid, so we might be able to do that. Who knows? But I took Atlanta 19-13 in this one. Fingers crossed. Our next game is going to be Detroit versus Carolina. Detroit's a team with a ton of momentum. They're looking really good. Carolina's just a team that's kind of like a sparkler right now. They keep flickering and fizzling and flickering and fizzling, but there's not much else out there going on. So I took Detroit in this one, 27-13. I assume they're going to keep rolling the way they have been. So, fingers crossed, we'll keep our eye on that game. Our next game, 1 o'clock game, is a Seattle-Kansas City. This is a big game because I think this is a team Seattle could beat. I didn't pick Seattle in this one. I picked Kansas City 29-23 only because as much as I really want Seattle to win, and I hope they do win, I still think Kansas City's probably the better team here with what they've got going on. So I think Kansas City's probably going to take this one fairly comfortably, but we'll see. Seattle might be able to give them a fight, and who knows, might be able to turn the tide on them and maybe edge a win out. If Seattle wins, it's going to be a much closer game, a couple points maybe. Shout out to Mahomes and the rest of these guys. See what happens. On the other side, Gino. These guys got some guys, over there, some weapons. See what they can do. Next game is New Orleans and Cleveland. I took Cleveland in this one only because, New Orleans is one of these teams. They only got 5 wins. They're not doing too great. Cleveland's really not either. But you got Deshaun Watson. You got some weapons over there. He looked a little more cohesive last week, and they might be able to pull out a win here in this one. So I took Cleveland 20-17 in this one. We'll see what happens. The next game on our slate. Get out of here now. There's water on the floor. Next game on our slate is Tennessee and Houston. And Houston's one of these teams in the last couple weeks has really impressed me. They've done a lot of stuff, but they've lost. They've fought crazy battles against really good teams. Tennessee is one of those teams that really needs a win. So I don't think this is just going to be a roll game like they have been. Houston's definitely gave up a few easy wins this year, but I think Tennessee's going to take this one 24-17. I think Tannehill might be hurt in this one, but they have the rest of their weapons there, so they should be able to squeak this one out. We'll see what happens. Our next 1 o'clock game is going to be Cincinnati and New England. This one, I think Cincinnati should have a pretty good lock on this one. I took Cincinnati 27-20. New England's still going to come out. They're still going to score. They're still going to do stuff. But at the end of the day, I think Cincinnati and what Burrow and the weapons he's got over there, the talent level that some of those young kids got, and they're really clicking. They're coming around kind of towards the end of the season like they did last year really well. I don't see New England being able to take this one. If they do, hats off to them. Next game is New York Giants and Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota should be able to roll on this one. Giants haven't been played. Giants came out of the season really hot and then started kind of fizzling out. They kind of, they settled down and teams are starting to figure them out a little bit. They're really hurting in the receiving area. They got a lot of young guys, but nobody really standing out over there. On the other side, you got Minnesota and what Kirk Cousins and what these guys have been able to do. Jefferson is set on pace to break some records this season. So I really think that it's going to be a pretty interesting game. We'll see how that turns out, but Minnesota should comfortably take that one. Next one on our 1 o'clocks for Christmas Eve is going to be Buffalo versus Chicago. Hey, Buffalo should roll this one pretty easily. I took Buffalo 34-20 in this one. Buffalo, number one team in the AFC, and I don't think this game is going to be the team, the game that bumps them out of that spot. So, hats off, good, Allen and Diggs and the rest of these guys are doing great. Keep up the good work. The next game is a little more tougher to call than you think. It's our first 4 o'clock game on Christmas Eve, and that's Washington and San Fran. And I took San Fran in this one 24-20, but Washington's been playing some really good football lately. So it's kind of hard to count them out, but the 49ers have a really, really good defense this year. And, even with, these guys, Purdy seems to be really clicking well in that offense. He's figuring things out. So, I think 49ers should be able to, between what they've got on offense and defense, carry this one out. Our next game I actually think is probably our game of the weekend, and that's going to be Philly versus Dallas. Dallas actually, Philly beat Dallas back. I think Philly beat Dallas back when Cooper Rush was still playing earlier in the season. But I think with Dak in there, it might be a little different game, but if Philly's really on point right now, I don't see much. Dallas' defense might be able to slow them down, but Philly, I took Philly in this one, 27-21. But this is a game where this could be a very exciting game. This could be a high-scoring game, and Dallas could very easily take this one. But I'm giving it to Philly just because of what I've seen out of momentum and the way these teams have been playing lately. Dallas lost an overtime game last week to Jacksonville, and that was a tough one. But I don't know how I don't know how they're going to stack up against Philly. We'll see. The only 2 4 o'clock games on Christmas Eve. So we got the next one on the slate is our 8 o'clock game on Christmas Eve, which is Las Vegas versus Pittsburgh. And that's I took Vegas in this one 21-17. Vegas has got a lot more going for them than Pittsburgh does, and they're playing for something, where Pittsburgh's just, playing to see what they still got left and, assess some guys and stuff like that. So I'm not sure if Pickett's going to be back for this game or not. He should be, but I'm not positive. We'll see what happens. But as for that, next game's our first game on Christmas, which is going to be our 1 o'clock Green Bay-Miami game. And I think Green Bay, as much as they look like they're starting to, come together a little bit over there, I think Miami's just got a little too much in the tank for them, and Green Bay's defense is kind of, mediocre at best this year. So I'm going to take, I took Miami in this one 30-20. I really think what Tua and these guys are doing over there is probably something, it's something to be watched, and it's something that, enjoy. So, enjoy watching that game on Christmas. If you got some time, the 4:30 game on Christmas is going to be Denver and the Rams. This is kind of a throwaway game, so if you're going to waste time, miss some football, this is probably one of those games you can miss. I did take the Rams in this one. Oh, bless me. Sorry about that. I took the Rams in this one 20-13. We'll see what Mayfield can put together, but Denver really hasn't impressed me much, with the exception of some of their defensive play all season. So, it's going to be, again, if you're going to miss a game, it's probably the one to miss all week. Next one on the slate is our 8 o'clock Christmas game, which is Tampa Bay versus Arizona. I think Tampa Bay should take this one. Arizona's playing, they have a backup quarterback for the rest of the season. They have their ups and downs on offense with McCoy in there, but I really don't know. I don't know what to expect them there. I just think later on in the year it's kind of hard to bet against Brady. They're really fighting for something because they have to stay ahead of the rest of the division to get in. No team in the NFC South has a chance to make any playoff spot but division, so they're all fighting for a division, and that's pretty much it. So we'll see what happens. I think Brady can pull this one out, though, 20-17. And then our Monday night game is going to be the Chargers versus Indy. I took the Chargers in this one. Indy's just kind of, right now, they're just a mess. They got to come out and play. They lost Taylor last week for what looks like the season. They're benching Matt Ryan again this week, so now they're going to be starting Nick Foles. And Carolina's coming out with something to play for. So, not Carolina. The Chargers are coming out with something to play for. So I think, what to watch here is, Herbert's really going to, I think they're going to come out and ball out and try to earn their spot. They kind of got snubbed on the last game of the season last year. They could have made the playoffs, didn't quite make it, got bumped out by Pittsburgh, in the last game in the season against the Raiders. So it was, interesting. We'll see what happens. I'd like to see Herbert in the playoffs, so I hope these guys pull it out. But in the meantime, a lot of fun stuff going on. I know it's a busy weekend. I know there's a lot of, Christmas this weekend. I hope everybody enjoys their holiday. I hope everybody enjoys the videos. And keep up. We'll see you on Sunday or Tuesday for our recap for the weekend and the holiday. In the meantime, have a good holiday, everybody. Enjoy it. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to those who are celebrating Christmas. Have a good one.